come to all the good meetings.
Real big one.
This is gonna be super exciting.
God, I would be wanting to shoe myself.
Reimburse the town.
No, I just keep telling myself I have to go to my own
Reimburse the
town
town for half a
meetings,
cent.
and I never do.
Is it a little bit this one? Just found it. This one's a little nicer than Chris.
Warmer.
Again, everything paid
I'll
by
throw a loose.
10%. Sorry.
You can sit on it because it's warm.
Right.
I'm not sure what you're gonna have questions about. I realize that this is all new for you. The first section is my point one, which would include myself and my deputy and my health insurance. I did put in a possible 3% increase. Again, that's up to the board. My pay is split between clerk, water, and sewer because of the billing that I do. So it's split out 50%, 25, 25. So that breakout is there. I also show you what the amounts were for last year's budget.
For the first line for Joy,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so that, it says village half contribution, is that for, because we have it,
She gets paid two different ways. The village and the town split most of her time 50-50.
okay,
And then the village, a few years ago, offered to pay straight for her to do an 8-hour day every week that's simply village.
Oh,
So
okay.
when she has a village day, that's all she does is village work.
okay, so that's what the 46, oh, so the change then is 270 there is all?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have managed to cut 1,110 off of point one.
Mm,
No.
Where am I not seeing that?
What do you mean 1,100?
In personal services, so on the far right where it says the change, you add everything up and then you subtract the 2,200, that gives me an,
No. You can't subtract the 2,200. That's a separate line item. That is money that you reimburse the town. And if you look back on your budget, I'm trying to find it here.
It's,
For-
Under
Page 2 near the top.
1989.4.
okay,
Last year we budgeted, or this year that you're in now, you budgeted 14,800.
yeah,
And so far, you've given the town 7,800. And you'll be paying them again in May. That's where the reimbursement for the health insurance and half of Joy's, that's 7,750 will go.
So these are all expenses, interchange, so that's all those are all increases.
okay, so then,
No.
but in regards though to the contribution for the insurance, so that did go down though, right?
Yes,
That went down because,
the insurance went down
Right.
because I'll be going from a family to employee with spouse.
Okay,
so if you're still on that particular line item, that 1989, that would be 14,050. And that's a 6,300 for the health insurance and a 7,750 for Joy.
okay, so that's gonna be a total of what again, I'm sorry?
$14,050 on that 1989.4.
Alright, so then that's a decrease in 750 then on that line item. And then for 1410.1,
That's an increase.
that's an increase.
Increase of about 680.
How are you getting 680?
Basing upon what we budgeted last year. I'm just basing upon what we budgeted last year. Last year we budgeted, or this year that we're in now, we budgeted $18,085.
Is that, it's 14. Okay, so we budgeted 18,085, right? And we're at 11,135.
And you have to add the 14,085 and the 4,680 to go into that category.
Okay, that's,
So I'm both to
I got you
That's
now.
total of what?
18,765.
Cause you're adding,
I'm adding Rose's top line, 14,085, and then down under Joy, for the village only, 4,680.
because in the rest of, rows from water, the 25, you got the, 340, the 120, one is water and one is sewer.
Correct.
Okay, so. Yeah.
I'm a little confusing.
No, it's. But all of Joy's though goes under general though, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, so you got a total of 18,765, right?
18,765.
Okay. That's not a big increase. So we budgeted 18,085 this year, and we're looking at 18,765 for next year. All right, contractual expenses.
I actually saved $100 on my contractual.
How is that possible?
I'm just that good.
You are a savvy lady. Are you sure that you don't want to try and request more for any?
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Now, have you by chance made a headway on the credit card machine?
I have Mr. GovPay calling me either February 1st or 2nd. I think
Okay.
it's the 2nd he's calling me. And again, there's no cost to the municipality, so nothing I have to worry about in my budget.
And we're saving, what, $200 for R.A. Mercer went down?
It went down because the
ADP took
350
over?
was for W2 and W9, and they only do our W9. Last year I forgot to take the W2 off of the R.A. Mercer line. ADP does that for us now.
And neither one is increasing their rates?
Right.
The excuse me, the W2, I looked at,
ADP raised theirs on me, right?
well, I raised the ADP because last year we had a rate increase with them. It's kind of hard to know what they're gonna do, so that's why I increased the ADP line.
Right.
But, looking at how much we spent on the W2s, I took that off that R.A. Mercer line.
Well, I'm not gonna say anything about that. So we're looking, so you're set with 5725 for. Question for you, have you looked at getting a good, shredder?
I have not looked at a good shredder.
You think
I
you
did
need
talk
one
to,
too?
I talked to Acme, a year or two ago,
Yeah.
and the one that we have in there is kind of an industrial strength one, and it was just a freak deal that he got a whole slew of them, and we got it for a couple $100. If I wanted to buy that outright, it would be several hundred to $1,000 to get a decent shredder. So right now I've been using the court one. For a while the court was using mine, and now that I'm using the court one when I'm doing.
Is it not even worth fixing that one?
No.
I mean, do we need a can we go with a couple $100 shredder and be good with it?
I don't know if
The lawnmower's downstairs.
I can certainly try.
Sure.
I mean, is anybody opposed to us having a decent shredder?
If we need one, we need one.
I would say so. So, what you think about then adding? I mean, again, this isn't final. This is just preliminary. So,
At least one.
can you at least one? Or what?
Versus $1,000.
I don't know what you. Can you?
I don't know.
You can contract with a company that comes in and does it.
Oh, a shredman, yeah.
I don't know what they cost. We don't use them, but I know already Mercer does.
Well, we use them at work too, yeah, of course.
I don't know if I would have enough to warrant a service like that. I mean, it's definitely more use than something from Walmart.
Well, you don't have to
But-
get like a huge thing. You can get, they have different sizes.
Yeah, I can check out with Staples and see what they've got. And I can call Acme again and, cause it was a year or two ago that he gave me the quote and I was like,
Well, you'd call Staples in regards to see how much one.
see what, yeah, I'll check the website and see what they have available.
Who does RA use to?
Shredded or something like that. They bring the truck right to there and then they do it like, I can't tell you how often. I priced it for the bank, but we never went with them.
And I would think the bank would have more to be shredded than.
Well, I take that back because we've hired them to come in, I think it's twice now, and shred records that we have had.
Mhm.
We don't have them come on a monthly basis or anything.
Yeah,
We have them come as needed. And I can't remember how much
What
they
they
charged
charge?
us. I don't remember how much it was per box.
Cause we probably could go, I mean, maybe once every other month or something, but it need to
I
be.
mean, I might have maybe 20 pages a day, maybe.
I don't know, because what it is, you just put it in a bin and it's locked and everything, so it's any MPI or anything like that is, nobody can have access to it except you, cause you'd have the key.
Mhm.
So, it would be
I
saved.
can check and, I can,
Yeah.
I can Google with the best of them.
I would call Mercer's and see,
Who they utilize?
yeah, and do it at the same time.
Well, yeah, piggyback with them.
Yeah,
Okay.
You know, if they're here,
Oh, cause if they come here around the same time, then they're not gonna charge more for delivery or
they
for.
might not hit you on field, so.
Yes, I mean, maybe you could deal with them that way.
Okay, I will scope it out.
So maybe see, I don't know, we wanna add 3, 4,
Yeah,
yeah.
20.
I mean, you're gonna we'll follow back up in February in regards to it, but you wanna go with just like a preliminary, say, add 500 and then hopefully that number will go down then for shredder?
Okay, I was really feeling good about cutting $100 off my budget.
So make it 6,225.
Correct. We're gonna add 500.
6225, 1410.4.
60.
25.
That's putting another 500 in for a shredder.
So the change then is $400 right now.
Over last year.
So while you're right on that page, do you want to talk about the attorney, since that's right below there?
Where's the attorney?
It's right below Rose's.
1420. He's not on my sheet.
Oh,
He's
you-
on
Oh,
the
I'm
general.
sorry, I'm looking at the sheet that I sent you.
I'm sorry, okay, so 1410.4 is where we're at.
While they're looking that up, Rose, I'm seeing on the building contractual expenditures.
Yeah,
I know Terry Fuse does the snow shoveling,
right?
but there's $200 in there for painting. Does somebody come paint regularly?
No, somebody does not come and paint regularly. Every year I hope to get the outer office painted, and every year I run out of hours. So that's basically to purchase the paint, because I would be doing the painting.
Well, say I know a guy, but 200 is a little, a little low.
I
Well-
conscripted my family to paint my office with me, so,
Well, hopefully when Shannon,
With the bowl grant?
yeah,
yeah, I'm not sure how far out he went.
That's all that.
Alright,
probably
Before
gonna
we go to
get it, so I'm pretty
attorney-
sure I'll throw
let
it
me
in.
finish up with Gross. Okay, so then, for the 1620.4, are we still paying $100 for bottled water?
Yes, because, he doesn't have to come as often, he doesn't come as often, and we don't drink a lot. So we guesstimated based off of the last couple months, and $100 for the year should do it.
Okay.
I'll start charging for that crap.
I got a water cooler.
Water ain't cheap.
There's nothing that needs to be added, Rose?
No?
Okay, so then that's gonna stay at 11.3.
Now,
Cold water goes in the
I don't know if, maybe we I should have asked this question during the police workup. What about the court officer? The town is paying for a court officer now, right?
Not yet, but they will be.
How do we work that into our budget? Or where?
Will that go under that other governmental?
Are they
No, that would be revenue,
Are
so
they paying us directly?
my understanding is
Yeah,
that
that would
once
be
we
on
get the
the
rate
revenue side.
figured out, that the town will reimburse the village.
That would be on the revenue side.
Wait a minute.
What?
Don't we pay the town something for the clerk's office?
They pay us.
They pay us,
For the,
and they're gonna pay us.
they pay us for the village hall.
Okay, as long as we're not, money's not doing this.
So under building personnel, you didn't have anything on there this year?
Oh, I
for
never
her.
have 1620.1 on here.
So I'm assuming you're leaving it the same?
I would, the .1
Is
would,
that usually what it costs?
I
for a
usually
city
ask
levy?
for a 3% increase for her,
Okay.
so it would be,
Last year you spent 1,107.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Is the cleaning lady here?
Yeah.
Who's the cleaning lady?
Mary Jo Episcopal. She comes in 2 hours a week and, cleans, vacuums, bathroom, dust.
Oh,
So 1,200 should probably still cover it.
Even with the
I
increase?
would think so.
Okay,
So leave it at the 1,200 then?
Yeah, I
Okay.
would.
So that'll stay. We already went over that's staying at the 11.3. Water administration, that does need to go up about $50 is all?
yes, the support usually goes up every year. So I went back to 2013 and looked at what the charges were, and it's been about $40 increase each year, so I popped it up 50 just to be safe.
Oh, because it's water, it's not,
Yeah.
so it's 83.10 over here.
Yep.
Okay, so we're at,
And I think the postage will still be good.
okay, so we budgeted 2,000 last year, we've only spent 1,500. And you're budgeting,
You budgeted 2,000?
Yes, it was 2,000 last year. The
and
year
this-
before you spent 2429, and the year before that 1,615.
Where's my water?
Especially what you eat.
so, do we stay at the 1,600? Do we need to go to the two,
I would probably leave it at 2,000.
leave it at the 2,000 and have a buffer?
This one makes all things weird, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
The other one at 1 o'clock, and one at
over 2,000.
and I couldn't find nothing on it.
And the sewer the same, I would probably leave that at the 2 instead of going down. So that was at 2,000 also.
Which one is this one? 8110.4. So that's still at 2, so just leave that the same as well?
I have to look at my spreadsheet, because it's different than what I have.
Okay, so Rose, for both 310.4 and 110.4, we're leaving at 2,000 that we had budgeted last year.
Apparently.
Okay, so that gives a breathing room depending if you have to send more bills or whatever. I don't know how much more, if you've had to send more notices and all of that.
I did a quick mental with it, and I felt that we would be okay with the $7.50 for postage, but I don't know what postal rates will do, so.
Okay,
Do you find significantly more postage with the new delinquencies?
Yes, a
We're charging
touch.
them for the postage, so we should be reimbursed, that's that 50, correct?
Yes, we should, when we charge them, so we should be reimbursed, so really that shouldn't,
We're not charging them for the regular bills though,
No.
no.
just the delinquent ones.
Delinquent ones,
Yeah.
they pay extra postage,
Yeah.
yep. Okay,
That'll be fine.
does that cover all of you then?
I believe so.
Okay. Youth budget,
The youth budget is separate from the village, other than what the village contributes towards the youth budget. But I did manage to put up a proposed one that will need,
where is it on
Review.
our line items, Gene?
Under 7310.4 and 7320.
Thank you. Third page at the top.
Now, did you read the email that I sent, the one section about youth? I sent it yesterday. There was some discussion
youth.
a little while ago about the youth count.
Right.
Yes,
If you look at those sheets that you have in front of you, back in the fiscal year ending May 31, 2014, there was 500 in the budget under 7310. That was for the soccer program.
but it wasn't in there for 15 and,
It wasn't in there for 15 because after that it was added to the youth budget. And if you look at the paper that I sent you, back on February 9th, 2015, youth soccer was issued a check for $500. That would have been from the previous fiscal year. This fiscal year that we're in now,
would be next month if they would get that.
it was
500.
budgeted, but there's not enough money in the account to give it to them.
Okay,
And if you look at Rose's budget, I guess you do have it in there, Rose, right?
I did put it in there, but I think I've got the 500, I'm counting it in the wrong year. In the way of how much expenses versus revenue.
okay, so how are supplies going down?
Basically, it's a matter of they had to go down in order to make the expenditures within the revenues. I increased revenues because there was only so much I could cut. Supplies are the advertisement at the beginning of the summer, the end of the summer party that the kids have, and if she needs to get any games or things for when it's rainy days.
Okay, so is there no way to, there's no way to lower the cost though for the bus drivers and for the fuel that is used, correct?
The bus driver was decreased
500 from the,
500 from the year before to last year, and the executive director was decreased, and the lifeguards were decreased. The pool, we did not decrease because they wanted the full amount.
Right.
okay, so she's taking, is there, so right now, she took a $500 cut as far as being director, right?
Yep, Stacy and the bus driver both took $500 cuts. And basically, I took it that we used to have 4 municipalities, now we have 3, so I divided the pay by 4 and got rid of a quarter.
So you're looking at, we're doing a total though, our contribution though is 3,000.
Would be 3,000, that's how I can meet expenses without cutting anything else further.
Did the town put the 3,000 in their budget?
I don't know, I'd have to look.
Because that's already established.
That is already set. You would be correct. That won't work.
And this is their actual fuel cost too, correct?
The 1483.65, and I still don't understand how we got rid of the farthest municipality out, and our fuel increased by, 25%. I have no idea.
We could probably cut costs there, because we had talked about having a centralized meeting
Mhm.
location for each each municipality,
The
so-
town put 3,000 in this year.
Well, the town went 3,000, we should be able to match that, right?
Yeah. The only problem is Town of Otto. I don't know what Town of Otto is put in. I just
I mean,
did this
in
budget
that
today.
point in time, if whatever I put in, I mean, then I guess, I don't know, if Stacy's able to take whatever the lesser is, if they're still just doing 2,700, then she'd get paid, I don't know what to say, I mean, it's not right, I mean, this is all the communities are doing this it's for the kids.
Right.
I mean, I would hope that if we're gonna do a meeting, centralized meeting place, that should cut fuel quite a bit.
I would think so, because right now they're
So,
going
I mean,
door
if
to
we
door.
could save $300 doing that,
That's huge.
there's your difference.
How
Now,
much
the
did fuel costs go up this year?
well, it's been going down,
It has been
We
going
paid
down.
almost 1,500 in fuel for the summer youth,
Last year it was-
1483.65.
What was last year's?
The year before was 1108.60.
and that was going all the way from
$400.
East Otto.
$400, almost.
I think somebody better sharpen their pencil just a smidge.
It doesn't,
It doesn't compute, if they're not chasing all East Otto, come on. It
That's-
should,
I know.
if anything, it should have
Two
stayed
different
pretty
bus
close to
drivers.
the
that's an
same.
additional what? That's an additional
I mean, I'm guessing, I mean, you know, I'm not.
12, 15 miles, one day, a
I mean,
day.
they're paid, what we pay for fuel, state bid.
Whatever that is, yeah.
Whatever the school,
When did they do their budget?
School,
No, towns.
towns do it in the
First
fall.
year,
Yeah.
well, they take it, it goes in effect the first year, January.
like September-ish.
Yeah, it has to be passed by November 20th.
So this budget though, for the 3,000 does include the $500 for the summer youth soccer program,
I
correct?
do have that in there.
Can we put that in a different account so it doesn't get used and it has to stay there, only the youth can use it? Or the soccer can use it instead of?
You can put it back in the village budget.
What'd you say?
Put in the vouchers sooner. Put in the vouchers as soon as June 1st comes.
Yeah,
You pay it immediately.
that way it doesn't get sucked up by the swim program.
Okay, but now just remember, what are you gonna do when you run out of money? I mean, once they start swimming lessons,
That's it?
I mean, what do you, and they start doing all this stuff, I mean, I don't know how many lifeguards they have.
They cut it down, I think it was 3 lifeguards, and it was 3 days a week rather than 4 days.
Well, I don't wanna see.
And
it
we still went
go
up in
back
fuel costs? One less day, and we still went up in fuel costs.
Don't make any sense to me, and I mean,
No.
don't get me wrong, I mean, I'm not sitting here and arguing, but I would think if we're not going East Otto, it should at least stay
Right.
the same. It shouldn't have,
But if you took a day off in it to boot,
you still should be the same,
yeah.
give or take.
Gene, in 14, we had 7310 U.4 for the soccer. Are we able to put it there?
If you want to
Specifically set it aside?
specifically set aside so that the village is paying the whole soccer bill. If you put it in youth, then you're dividing that up between the other municipalities. So it depends if you wanna pay the whole 500 yourself, or if you want it part of the youth budget, where it's divided between the other 2 municipalities.
Now, in the youth, in 14, we spent $3,100,
That's what we gave them at that time.
plus the 500, correct? So we spent 3,600 total.
This whole program needs to be reworked.
Oh, yeah, big time.
It needs a major overhaul.
Are we all in agreement still keeping $500 though for the youth soccer program?
As a separate line item in the budget?
Well, that way if they don't use it all,
No, they use it.
No, it's a full,
Yeah.
they just get the 500.
Right.
They didn't get it this year because it wasn't there.
Right.
no.
I mean, does anybody else have an issue with that? Are we all in?
No. No, I don't have an issue at all. Which that way we know what we got.
So we're putting 500 then there for the 7310 youth point four, or 7310.4.
And then 3,000 for the one below that. Correct?
Right, to match the town. So that's going up together. Right?
That's what I understand, right? Or is our whole contribution of the 3,000 including the 500 from the summer youth rose? Is that 3,000 include the 500, so we'd only be putting 2,500? How's this working? For how you have it inputted on your sheet?
Part of it. 500
I've got the 500 coming out of youth council, not out of the village budget. So the village would put 3,000 towards youth council,
And then it's
and
up to
that
the
would
youth council
include
to-
soccer. Everybody would share the soccer expense.
Okay, so as would Otto and
Right, everybody would
and
share.
Albion?
Everybody would share the 500,
Unless you run into the same issues you did this year.
unless we run out of money again.
Or they just come in and grab it as soon as come June 1st and
Right.
And we run out of money for the swimming.
in years past, did we ever have a leftover from youth?
Oh, yeah.
You always have a balance, but this year Rose is estimating $338 carrying it forward.
Right, because we should get roughly 1,100 some odd dollars from the state. We're still waiting for that to come in. And we still need to pay Stacy the other half of her pay.
Okay.
So it should leave approximately 330-ish. Usually we had a couple thousand that would carry over from year to year.
Alright, so then we're doing, so we got 500 for the 310.4, and then 3,000 for the 320.4.
So then I can reduce the youth council amount by 500 because you put it in the village budget.
You would add it to a different area in your,
Well, it's still in the youth though.
you would still add it, well,
I would add another 500 into revenue.
into a different expenditure account, so it balances.
There's 7310.4 for, that was initially created, or that was there for the soccer, that was there in 14, and then it wasn't put there in 15. We're looking at putting it back for 16 to 17.
Do you do this budget for the youth every year, Rose? Why doesn't our youth director do it? To take it out of your hands?
Because I'm the secretary disperser. That's why I've done it in the past.
Okay. I'm just wondering.
Does anybody else have anything to add for this? I mean, this is just preliminary again.
Right.
So, I mean, right now as it stands, we're looking to raise it by $700, or excuse me, 800.
This is their evil.
Which part are we raising $800?
Total youth is we're looking at raising $800 or spending $3,500.
In the village
500
budget.
into the summer soccer and an additional 300 into the youth, this one program.
Okay, that takes that. Is there anything that you have to go over, Rose?
I don't think so. I think I did everything.
Okay, for Jay, as you said about the attorney?
Yeah, I mean, while we were right there.
Okay, so for law, we are at
14, 20.1 and 4.
1 and point 4, okay. So point 1 would be the same 5. In point 4, we did 2,500 for contractual expenses.
That came from the money that,
He received for,
something,
yes, from NICOM. for the grant that you wrote.
Which that'll disappear for next year's budget, correct?
Yeah, there's no guarantee that'll exist, but there's the other half of that, which is the parking one that we'd already been discussing. And that's gonna be around apparently until 2017 or when funds dry up, so it's possibly still another grant that can be gotten there.
And how much is that one for?
Same size.
2,500?
Yeah, and they do a larger size for it for larger municipalities, but we're not
Okay,
big.
right now, for contractual expense, are you putting anything in for Jay for contractual expense? Or are you, I mean, that 1854 was meetings or something,
For training?
something. Okay.
Do you foresee any training for this year?
It would be helpful, and certainly to find out about more things that are going on for changes in the law, particularly as they relate to the municipality.
So for this year, we did.
It was zero.
It was 0. What do you feel would be sufficient? You're the one that'll be attending.
Yeah. I'd have to look at the voucher that I submitted for the one conference in Saratoga. At a minimum, I think that one would be incredibly helpful.
How much was that one? 7?
That sounds about right.
700?
Yeah. But obviously, if I could carpool with somebody as we planned this time, then mileage expense was gonna be lower, so it'd just be pure attendance cost then.
So I'll say 700 then. Should be more than sufficient.
Okay?
Then, is there anything to increase, Rose, for 14-15 for elections?
I know the county does our elections, so we pay, let me see, that's all right.
Do you know how much we're gonna be paying for this year?
We pay, I believe, the election inspectors.
Didn't you have to buy so many ballots or something?
Oh, we do have to buy ballots. We don't have to do it for the town because it's other than
No, we're
this.
gonna be taking a break before we go here. You're gonna be
Yeah,
our,
right.
you're gonna be our wrap, our close.
877 last year,
You did midnight.
No, we're not.
and
I don't know,
700.
I get up early.
I know we ordered extra ballots last year. Do we,
There's no contesting this year, it should be pretty
there's no
minimal.
contest, but at the same time, you're not supposed to run out of ballots. So
100?
up until last year, we might have 30 voters at an election, and
So
to
then-
order 500 or 600 ballots seemed wasteful, but at the same time, again, you can't run out of ballots.
Well, it was
So-
also like a record year last year
Yeah.
for attendance in however many years, so. Where do you foresee though that that should be about, do you think? You think that's gonna be?
There's
same?
like, I'm trying to think, I think there's 4 election inspectors at basically $100 each.
I would think 750 would be like we did this year.
It's just more than, should be more than
I
enough.
would think so.
So same. All right, does anybody have,
Before you break, let's go up and do trustees and mayor.
okay,
Do the easy ones first. I'm bypassing you, John.
well, I
I'm
was,
easy. I think if we just get through water and sewer tonight, we'll be doing good, and we'll leave the general alone until next time. I got stuff, I still got to figure yet, I still haven't got prices.
no,
No, some people don't return phone calls.
isn't that lovely?
Yeah, but I think sometimes I piss them off, and I start redialing every 3.5 minutes.
Okay, so under trustees, are you guys anticipating a raise?
I was,
No.
in regards to anything with our pay, and I mean, because obviously with us taking on the new debt for the water bond,
Say drop the trustees down $300 each and the merit that one.
I was saying giving it all back, in my opinion, in all seriousness. Or at least, it needs to be cut at least in half, if not more.
What's that?
The mayor's for one,
Oh,
and I mean, cause total we're paying for our salaries on the board is 10,000 right now. Even if that were to be reduced to 5 or even more some, to have that money go towards our water debt would be helpful.
Two different funds.
right.
Oh,
Yeah,
Two
they
different-
gonna mush.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, it's gotta come out of water.
It would go to reducing possible taxes,
Yeah.
but
Or possible taxes, so okay, that's what that would go towards.
I had a brainstorm, but we'll save that for water and sewer later.
So I'm up for at least dropping the mayor to at least 50%, if not more. I'd even have it match with the trustees. If you guys were to drop yours to 1,000, I mean, I drop mine to, or the mayor to 1,000 as well.
I don't have a problem. What do we even get now?
1,500.
1,500?
I mean, I don't have a problem with it either, but will the new board have a problem with it? That's the other thing you gotta think about too, everything we do tonight, it's gotta mesh with the new board, because they're the ones that approved it. You know what I mean, I don't wanna be wasting our times and.
They can come in
doing
in
it.
April and change it.
Exactly, so you gotta think.
But another thing too is if you lower it too much,
Right.
are you gonna get anybody that wants to grow?
Exactly.
Well, the thing in regards to it though, I mean, we've all agreed, I mean, nobody's making money or getting rich off of it.
No.
It's all about servitude.
Exactly.
That's, at this level, that's exactly what it is. It's not like even being mayor, it's not like I'm the mayor of a city of Jamestown that's making 80 grand a year, you know? It's a part-time gig, and it's really just an act of servitude for our for our area.
Trustees have not gone up in years.
I can tell you, town board trustees, whether it's around, any of them around here, are way more than what we get. I'm not saying I ain't in line with a cut, but I am in lines with, like Gene said, you know,
It's your guys' own, I mean, in the end, we gotta come to an agreement. I'm letting you know how I feel, that I'm willing to give mine back to help towards, you know, with, for instance, like we have for the kids, for the youth program, for the soccer, you know.
Well, that's where my
what
math
it
came from, because it was like, if the trustees gave back 300 each, that's $1,200. If the mayor gave 1,000, that's 2,200. That almost makes up for my committees, for the youth getting an extra 500 and the library getting a bump.
Library's a substantial bump.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, that would cover it.
I mean, and also, I'd rather see that, you know, the increase go for me personally, I'd rather see the increase go for the employees of the village, such as John and his two guys, Rose and Joy. You know, the guys in our officers here that are all the front line. It don't bother me a bit if I were to reduce the mayor's to 1,000, or I'd give it all back, to be honest with you, so that, to help so that we don't go over, I mean, every little bit's gonna count, obviously, as we're seeing how things are adding up every little bit. Because we got, what, 0.17% at max we can go? Do you know what the amount total is?
No, I haven't done it.
so what were you saying, we're 300 from each of us would almost cover the library and the extra 500 for the youth?
Yeah, because that'd be 22, right?
3 times 4.
That'd be 2,200. The library's asking for an additional 1,500 and 500 for the youth. We actually have an extra $200.
Put that in the youth.
You'd have 300 times 4,
That's 12.
that's 1,200, and
Plus
then you'd
1,000.
have 1,000.
You know what would be even better,
Yep.
actually, is if we all did put the money back into, like, got rid of our salaries and put, say, maybe a couple, you know, $500 to $1,000 for contractual expenses to go get training, to be told what's going on. Also, because you have the CCMOA meetings, that are 6 months out of the year. If you're going to any for training,
I hate to tell you, I ain't going to training.
I'd say it'd be better put to service to put any money that we have, increase contractual expenses, and have that go towards to know what's going on and.
I would more apt to, if I'm gonna give my money, I'd give it to the kids and to the library. I ain't giving.
I'm good with dinner, I pay my way.
Well, I mean, if you don't use that money, then you don't use that money.
It don't matter. I'll agree to a $300 pay cut for trustees if it goes to the youth and to the library, but I ain't putting it into training.
How does this affect the, retirement? And all that?
Well, I mean,
So
that little bit will affect.
I mean, it's not much, but again, it's a deterrent for some people to not run. You know what I mean? And
You
you're.
know what though?
you're
I'm
saying-
not. If you wanna run because you wanna serve.
No.
If you're gonna step on this board, oh, I'm gonna make $2,000 to sit here, then you don't need to be here as far as I'm concerned.
I agree, John.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely agree.
You know, everybody around here gives. I spent 20 hours in a plow truck Monday. I got back up at 3:30 in the morning, I was back over to that shop, and I come to work. I make a salary, I'm not complaining, I'm smiling because the job was done.
Yep.
Well, right.
That's the way we gotta look at it. If you're coming here for the money, you don't belong here.
No, but what I'm saying is if we sit here for 4 hours and we talk about this, and then 4 new people come in here, and they don't like this, we've wasted our entire time, because the new board approves it, so we gotta kind of think.
Okay,
Along
but it's
that
the
lines,
same,
too.
it's the same, I'll give them the same damn.
Well,
service.
right, but.
Are you here to serve the people, the village of Cattaraugus, or are you here to fill your pockets?
Well, exactly.
Exactly.
Go. That's the way I feel. You guys wanna do a wonderful thing, you wanna build your youth, you're willing to give.
Well,
Everybody's willing to give.
Exactly.
And if they can't see that, then they don't need to be here.
I agree with John, quite frankly.
I'm not being
I've done
mean,
a lot
I'm
of
being
volunteer
truthful.
work over the years. I've had years where I volunteered 3,000 hours. I never saw a dime. When I took this, and I took this as a volunteer job, to find out I was getting paid, I was surprised. And I feel that you're a citizen and you should be serving your community. So quite frankly, the 325, if that has any tie to somebody taking the job and say, well, geez, I get 325, they shouldn't even be considering the job, quite frankly. And you're here to serve your community. And it's just like when we said, geez, let's all give $100 to.
Right.
I have no problem with that whatsoever.
No, I don't either.
For as far as I am concerned, and I agree with Jason that I would like to see my money go towards the library, the kids, it's bump, 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 bump. I don't care, I get anything.
Right, that's what I'm saying, I'd like to have a nice say in where that goes, so.
Yeah, if we
You
can
know.
dedicate and say, this is what we did, and this is why we did it for the budget. You know, the next guy is coming in, they can work on that in their next budget. But this one they can live with.
Yep.
That's where I'm at.
So I say, I'll gladly take a $300 pay cut off for the kids and for the library. Gladly.
I'm down to lower mine to minimum 1,000 or give it all back to help with the budget, because the
Okay,
mayor's is.
so, under trustees expense or personal services, if you do 300, then you're looking at 4,800 there. If you're cutting 300 each.
Right.
Right now, you got 750 in there for contractual. You spent 144.
More than 48.
I'm just throwing these out because it seems like we're not getting too far.
750 contractual is like when we went to,
Well,
Meetings,
mileage, stuff like
training.
that, I would drop that too.
yeah, I'd drop it to 400. I'd cut it in half anyway.
But wait a minute, let me go back here, just so I understand what you're saying. You're saying that we're dropping the trustee paid from what to what?
1,500.
15 to 12.